You're watching WCSD Cable Television from Callaway County High School.
Issue, most people dial 911. 911 operators deal with many types of calls. Whether a child accidentally made a call or there's an extreme emergency at hand, someone must be there to attend to these situations. Specifically, there must be someone to provide emergency medical care to people in need of help. Our guest today is local paramedic Clayton Reece. Hello everyone, I'm Kyla Mitchell and you're watching Callaway Connections. Thank you for joining me today, Clayton.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, what exactly is a paramedic?
A paramedic is a emergency medical personnel who is able to provide definitive care in the field during an emergency and really get access to patients and be able to fix things before we get to a hospital.
I understand. And do you work for any organization specifically?
I work for the hospital here in town, the Murray-Calloway County Hospital. We run our own ambulance service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I see. The organization you work for, what is a typical day like for you?
Typical day for me usually starts about 6 p.m. when I go into work. We usually get together, talk about what happened earlier in the shift for the other crew. We come in and we usually wash the ambulances and try to make them look as good as possible. We go through the whole truck and make sure all of our equipment's on there. We have enough of everything for, in case of an emergency that something were to happen with a bunch of people, we have enough for everybody. And we usually go through that, we clean the office, and after that, we usually go out and eat dinner. And then just as we get calls, we'll go out and do whatever we need to do.
Interesting. So obviously some days, more typical, but as far as exciting days go, like, are some more exciting than others, or is it just kind of random?
Yeah, some are more exciting than others. Some days we don't do a whole lot. We do a lot of out-of-town transfers. Like we'll go to Nashville and Paducah quite often, but some days it'll be a lot of emergency calls in town or out in the county. We do a lot at the lake. In the summertime, we do a lot of standby events, so like the motocross and the rodeo and things like that. So, some days we're busy for the whole 12 hours, and there's some days where we just make 1 or 2 calls, and that's it. You just never can tell. So
you keep saying we. Do you have like a specific team that you work with, or is it?
Yeah, like usually every night we have 5 people. We have two paramedics, 2 EMTs, and then a rescue trained, either an EMT or paramedic. So like I work with one partner pretty much every night. We're really close and we can trust each other most with everything. And the same goes for other people. We usually have our own partners that we stick with most of the time, but we always have flexibility to do different things with different people. Like I'm also rescue trained, so I can work on the rescue truck, or I can work on the ambulance as an EMT or as a paramedic, whatever the role needs to be. Most all of us can kind of adapt to fit that role. But we have one supervisor who's usually on every shift, and they're kind of in charge of everything, but we all work as a team together. We kind of like a big family. We work together for 7 nights a week, and you get to know these people really well, so it's kind of a family type of thing.
That's neat. Do you typically have to have training? Because you said that each of you kind of have different things that you do. Does each person train differently, or do you all just get trained all around?
Yeah, each person has a different amount of training. As a paramedic, we have upwards of 500 to 600 to 700 hours of training just in the field before we actually are able to operate as a paramedic. Whereas EMTs will have anywhere between 200 to 300, upwards of 4 and 5, depending on how much experience they have, with different certifications. But we have numerous certifications on top of our title that we all have to have, our CPR and advanced cardiac life support and different things like that we all have to go through. So some people have more than others, and EMTs, they don't need as much, and paramedics have a lot more. And the same thing goes for rescue. Rescue trucks have to have hundreds of hours of experience and training to be comfortable with tools and how to get somebody out of a car without hurting yourself and other people. So there's a lot of education that goes on with it.
So you specifically, how much training did you have to go through?
For my paramedic, I've had to do close to 700 and 800 hours just in the last 9 months. And then for EMT, we do a lot of ride time to learn and get comfortable with things, and that takes a lot of time. But if you include all the classroom hours and all hands-on skills and everything that we do, it's probably closer to 2,000 to 3,000 hours of time that you put into it to really be proficient at what you do and learn and know how to handle different situations differently.
What is the most exciting thing that you've encountered? Obviously not, specific people,
Right,
but as far as situations go.
There's several times I've been on, car wrecks that were really intense where we don't know what's going to happen or how it happened. It's just all we have to know is we have to fix whatever situation we're presented with. I've come up to cars that may have been going, 100 miles an hour, and people are lucky to be alive, and cars upside down or on fire, and it can be exciting. It can be terrifying. You just never really know. But I don't know, it's hard to get into specifics about stuff without being really too gruesome about a lot of things.
Yeah,
So
I understand.
we're all kind of adrenaline junkies, so.
Yeah. I know you have those exciting days, but do you ever get any non-emergency calls that you have to attend to? And
I would say probably 75% of what we do is just not emergency calls. We take patients back and forth from the nursing homes, and a lot of people call an ambulance, and it may not be an emergency to us, but we have to kind of put ourselves in the mindset that whoever you're picking up, it's their emergency. They think they're having an emergency. We have to treat it as such, even though it may be something as simple as a scratch in the leg. To some people, they think they're going to bleed out, and we have to react equally to everybody and provide the same level of care and still be professional. But most of the stuff we do is not emergency stuff. So you'll see ambulances rolling around just not with their lights and sirens on all the time, and most of the time we will have a patient with us, and people don't really expect that we do a lot of non-emergency stuff, but I'd say most of our client base, I'd say, is non-emergent.
Clayton has actually provided some images for us, and if we would pull those up, he'll be able to explain those for us. So will you tell us just what exactly?
So this is our office. This is kind of where our hub of everything. You can see on the walls we have on the left side is the map of Murray and all the side streets and pretty much every street in Murray, and on the right is the entire county. And you can't really see it, but on the county one, there's little squares that say A1, A2, A3, and on the bookshelf there's a huge binder, and you figure out what your road name is, and then it tells you if it's A1, it'll say A1. You can go back up to the map and you can see exactly where that road is and what number of house and where you need to be, and then we just kind of figure out where to go from there. We don't have to use a lot of that as much anymore, but we have all electronic stuff now, but it's good to have a backup plan. But this is usually the truck I run out of. This is Med 4. This is our newest ambulance we have at Murray. It's a Chevy. It has a lot of lights on it. We have all the top lights that have no sort of red and white. We don't run any blue lights in Kentucky. But this is the inside of the ambulance from the captain's chair. Up above the captain's chair, we have all of our airway stuff, and we have the stretcher right there in the middle. On the far side is the bench where the EMT usually sits by the monitor, because they usually hook the patients up, and then I typically sit on the bench seat to the right in this picture, and I have all my IV stuff up right above my head, and then all my medications and everything up to my right. So it's kind of a small environment, but this was actually the night we had a call for a possible stroke. And we got there, we're able to identify that this person was having a possible hemorrhagic stroke. Their blood pressure was extremely low. So we were able to call AirVac for a helicopter, and they were able to meet us at the hospital by the time we got there, so we could actually move the patient from our ambulance straight into the helicopter and really get the time from our seeing them to the point where we can get them actually to a neurologist, and I think they went to somewhere in Nashville. We can really cut that time down a whole lot by flying patients out whenever it's applicable for things like that.
You fly people out often?
It just depends. Sometimes we'll do it a lot. There's nights where we'll fly 3 or 4 people out in one night, and there's months where we won't call a helicopter at all. It's just that's the whole nature of EMS is you never know what you're going to be presented with. You never know what's going to happen. but you have to kind of be on your toes and ready to respond to anything and be ready for it.
Right. So you're always on the edge.
A lot of times, yeah. Whenever at work, I'm pretty high strung because you just never know what's going to happen. You know, one minute we could be eating dinner, and then we'll have to go somewhere, and you don't know where you're going to go, what you're going to see. So it can be exciting. It can also be nerve-wracking. It just depends.
How has the technology advance affected your job?
The technology has really gotten really incredible over the last couple of years. We started to carry video laryngoscopes on the trucks to where, like whenever we had to intubate somebody, instead of having to have a certain position and being, and it's really hard to intubate somebody sometimes. You have to see their vocal cords, which are a lot further down your throat than people think they are. And video stuff makes it a lot easier where we can try to intubate you and we can just look at a screen that's right above our hand and get a much clearer picture, and it increases our success rate, tenfold easily. But another thing in this picture is our control centers right there in the middle. That controls everything about the truck. I can control all the lights, all the sirens. I control what I'm looking at in the back. I can change the thermostat. I can control the entire truck from that one spot. I can see how much oxygen we have in the truck, how much fuel. It really does everything. We have cameras in the back of the truck, so I can actually see what's going on in the back and make sure that a patient isn't getting out of control or something's happening that I need to stop and pull over for, or vice versa. It's easy to. It's good to keep an eye on what's going on back there, just so you can kind of make sure something isn't going terribly wrong that you have to take care of. Because sometimes you get really bad tunnel vision. You're running emergency somewhere and you're looking straight ahead, looking at traffic, and you forget about what's going on in the back. So it's really helpful to have an actual picture right there.
Right.
But it's really cool. Technology's come a huge way, and just in the last couple of years that I haven't even been doing this. We have CPR machines that do CPR for us now, and all this stuff is really great because it actually improves our patient outcomes dramatically because it takes a lot of human error out of it, which is it's good for the general public that we can provide better care every day. So.
All right, well, we're going to take a short little break, but when we come back, we'll get to know Clayton beyond the uniform. Okay.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
This image that I'm holding right here is actually, this is Clayton. And it may not look like Clayton, but what you don't know is whenever he's not on duty, he is actually participating in a local scream park. And that was actually him as the face of Talon Falls. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know it too because you work out there with me, but we both work out at Talon Falls, and it's a scream park it's in between Paducah and Mayfield. But it's something fun to do to kind of get your mind off everything, and it's a fun place to kind of cut loose, and you can act crazy and as scary as you want to be.
How did you get started at Talon?
I got started as I went to see it one year, and I had started talking to a few people, and one of them said, "Hey, let's go try this out. Let's see if we can go and act and everything." I did it the first year, and it was kind of relatively unknown, and then I came back and kept coming back every night, and eventually, I guess, I started to get to know everybody, and I got opportunities to do different things, and eventually that ended up doing that. Yeah,
the face of Talon. You start off just going to Talon, and now you're the face.
Yeah,
it's
exciting. It's a lot of fun, but it definitely helps to kind of relieve a lot of stress.
Yeah, it's kind of strange considering you save lives on duty, and then off duty you take lives as far as acting goes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like it though.
Well, what's your favorite part about actually
Probably just being able to cut loose and just be crazy and run around like well, madman.
Yeah.
It's fun. You know, it's kind of our own little adrenaline, I guess, fix that we all look for.
Yeah.
It's just everybody has a different way of doing it. You know, I would never act professionally other than whenever I'm in makeup and have a costume on or running around shirtless acting like a wastelander. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. It kind of.
You did say you were an adrenaline junkie, so
That's very true.
I guess that takes part in it.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other hobbies besides working at Talon and participating in that area?
I guess it is kind of talent related, but I also do a lot of the escape game stuff. So I do a lot of electronics where I'm building puzzles and making things that people have never seen before.
So, explain to the audience exactly what is an escape game.
So our escape games are basically, we'll put you in a room for about an hour and you have a series of puzzles that you have to solve to advance through the rooms and to unfold a storyline that we've put together. And the goal is to basically get out of whatever situation that you're in, and whether it's you're kidnapped or you're trying to rob a bank. We have one that you're actually in prison and you have to find an antidote to a zombie infestation.
Oh, wow.
So we give you different situations that you have to really look around and use your mind and think outside the box, which is a lot of fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, do you have like a family of your own, or?
Not over here. Actually, all my family still lives in Missouri, so I'm the only one over here. But I came over here for school. Just kind of fell in love with the area, so I decided to stay. Now I'm waiting for my mom and dad to retire, and they're going to move over here too. So we'll be all back together one day. But
Yeah.
all my family's really spread out. You know, I have family in St. Louis and Springfield, Missouri. But I'm the only one over this far. But I like it. We're still close enough to where mom and dad are only about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So we stay relatively close. You know, they come and visit, and I'll go back home, and it's nice. I don't have anybody here.
Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. This has been Callaway Connections, and we'll see you next time.